Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Urshan, and this week we're doing another round of March Badness. And this is the final four of the tournament, concluding with the championship. So this was created by Derek's Horror Corner, so definitely subscribe to Derek's channel. This was such a fun idea that he came up with. So first we got the winner of the Myers bracket, which was, of course, the 1978 classic from John Carpenter, Halloween, a masterpiece. Taking on the winner of the Chucky bracket, which was Halloween 2. Look at this. We got Halloween versus Halloween. That's crazy, right? Two of my absolute favorite horror movies of all time going at it. Oh, man. Really tough for me personally, because to me, Halloween 2 is the greatest horror sequel of all time. It really is like the perfect follow-up to the original, where it matches the look and tone and feel of the original with a lot of similar direction style, similar kind of camera work that helps keep the tone and maintain it throughout. And it's still just as scary as the original, in my opinion, with just as great suspense as the original. And a lot of that has to do with the cinematography as well as by Dean Cundey and, of course, Rick Rosenthal's direction. And I love the fact that Halloween 2 has some of the things that Halloween didn't have, where Halloween 2, we get the blood and the gore and the nasty kills, And we didn't get that in the original Halloween. It was more implied, which that is great too, but I like the fact that we do have it in Halloween. See, they didn't just make the same exact movie, they could have, but they did a few things differently. They continued the story where we have the, the brother-sister angle going there, which I thought was really cool and was a great twist and a great shocker there. Was it completely necessary? No, but I just thought it was just a great twist, a great shocker, I love that. And I thought they followed it up pretty well in the rest of the franchise, for the most part, And yeah, I love Dick Warlock's performance as Michael Myers. I love that Michael Myers in this movie is much more up front and center. We see him a lot more, and to me, he's just terrifying. And even the scenes where you just see him walking down the hospital hallway, it just sends a cold chill down my spine, just amazing. So with that being said, now we're talking about the original Halloween, which to me is the greatest horror movie of all time. John Carpenter's ultimate masterpiece for me, definitely his greatest achievement in film. What's amazing to me is that the director himself came up with that amazing, phenomenal score to the movie, as well as doing the amazing directing job that he did on Halloween, and co-writing the screenplay with Deborah Hill. Deborah Hill did most of the dialogue with the female characters, which I felt so natural, the dialogue between the female characters, because you have a woman writing that dialogue, and I love the characters, Laurie, of course, played by the lovely Jamie Lee Curtis, doing such a great job, amazing performance, and of course you've got Donald Pleasance as the great Dr. Loomis. I mean, I'd be hard-pressed to say there is a better character in the history of horror than Dr. Loomis, especially played by Donald Pleasance. Just his sense of exposition on Michael Myers. Whenever he talks about Michael Myers, you get that exposition, you're like, damn, this guy must really be, a piece of work, the way Dr. Loomis talks about him, we better take care of this guy, I love that. And of course, I love the fact that Halloween, you don't get the blood and the gore. You didn't need to, because the way it's shot so beautifully, the style of the film, you didn't need to see it, It's implied, and that's enough. you get it, you know what's happening. Yeah. So with that being said, the original masterpiece from 1978 wins this round. The greatest horror movie of all time, my favorite movie of all time, and yes, the best slasher of all time. Next up, we have the winner of the Jason bracket, which was Scream, the original, directed by the legendary Wes Craven, taking on the winner of the Freddy bracket, which was the original Friday the 13th. Look at this. Look how far the original Friday the 13th has gotten in this tournament. To all you people that put it low on your ranking list when it comes to Friday the 13th, look how far the original makes it in my tournament. Yes. So the original Scream, directed by Wes Craven, such a great comeback for Wes Craven, and a comeback for the horror genre in general. I mean, look at horror at that time, all we had were endless sequels to franchises that have kind of lost their way. You have 4, 5, and 6, and 7, and a lot of franchises did that, and it kind of watered everything down, and it was great to see a resurgence in horror with Scream, such a breath of fresh air, and it was also a really great kind of parody of the horror genre and the slasher genre, and at the same time being a great slasher, and being scary, and you had what I feel is the greatest opening in horror history, dare I say that, with Drew Barrymore there. And Drew gave a great performance, by the way. I thought she was phenomenal. And you had kind of that Psycho thing where the lead actress, is taken out early in the film, I thought that was great. I love the nods to the classic slashers that the Killers mentions and talks about, and you just feel great hearing that. Yeah, great look for the killer. I love the mystery of the killer, and it's just fantastic. And the great twist at the end there, just phenomenal. Okay, and that's taken on Friday the 13th, the original from 1980, which in my opinion is a horror classic. Some people don't consider it that way, but to me, it's absolutely a horror classic. It's one of my favorite horror movies of all time, To me, Friday the 13th is the film that just blew the slasher genre wide open, Once Friday the 13th came out, that's where the floodgates were open, for all these little independent, low-budget slashers to come out, And I love that because I love a lot of those movies. I love the early 80s slashers, It's a great, subgenre of horror. And, you can say that Friday the 13th, the original, was influenced by films like Bay of Blood and Black Christmas and Halloween and the original Texas Chainsaw and all that. And that's true, but I feel like it has enough of its own identity to stand on its own because Friday the 13th really is the first summer camp slasher. We may have seen a little bit of that with Bay of Blood, but the first full-blown summer camp slasher is Friday the 13th from 1980. And I love the atmosphere of the original Friday the 13th. It has a great dark tone to it. And I love that opening scene that kind of, see from the killer's perspective a little bit. I love the mystery of the killer, the whodunit aspect, and that amazing twist at the end with Betsy Palmer in the role of Mrs. Voorhees, which is one of my favorite horror performances of all time. And you got the phenomenal score by Henry Manfredini that just sets the tone, And I love the atmosphere in the original Friday the 13th, especially that one scene where it's pouring rain out and that girl is trying to sleep in her cabin and she hears the crying like it sounds like a little kid outside, saying, "Help me!" That is amazing. All right. And with that being said, the winner is Friday the 13th from 1980. Yes. Hell yeah. giving respect and props to the original Friday 13th, baby. So that leaves it down to the championship. The winner of the Myers bracket and the Chucky bracket, which was the original Halloween, taking on the winner of the Jason and Freddy bracket, which was the original Friday 13th. So wow, you got the original Friday 13th versus the original Halloween. Yes, Jason Voorhees versus Michael Myers. In a way, Friday 13th, Jason wasn't actually the killer, but, the lore of Jason Voorhees was introduced, and the story, the background of the character was introduced in the original Friday 13th. And he does show up there at the end, So, that is tough, I love Friday 13th. I think it's a great movie. It's a horror classic, and it's certainly a slasher classic, without a doubt. But you've got, like I said, the greatest horror movie of all time. My favorite movie of all time. And yes, to me, it's the greatest slasher movie of all time. So, Halloween wins the championship of March Badness. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Halloween won last year, March Badness 2020. So maybe next time we might want to think about having a tournament without including Halloween. Alright, so Halloween wins March Badness 2021. So thank you once again, Derek's Horror Corner, for coming up with this really fun idea. And thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Ocean, in the Horror Corner. Tune in and stay scared.